Greetings, friends. Shuey Rhyme was larger than life. That's a cliche, but in his case, it's true. Shuey departed this world on the 29th of ER at the age of 48. He left behind a wife and children, as well as his mother and his siblings. Shuey was intimately involved with our life at a time of great miracles, and he was a miracle worker himself. He came for Shabbos more times than I can count. He was like my brother, maybe more like my son. Over recent years, we saw him less frequently, but his place in our life is forever. Shuey was a master salesman. He could sell anything, but what he wanted most was to sell Kedusha. Everything by Shuey became Kodesh. He was a salesman for Hashem. We met in the year 2000. My first book had just been published, From Central Park to Sinai, How I Found My Jewish Soul. The publisher was not well known in the Jewish world, and a close Yedid named Reb Tzemach Glenn was anxious to help us get this book out to the world. Tzemach is quite a salesman himself. So my wife and I met Tzemach at Yeshiva Torah V'das. After davening Mincha, the plan was to go to Borough Park, to the Sfarim dealers, and get this book accepted in the Jewish world. But first, Tzemach took us around the corner to meet someone special. The Gadol Hador, Harav Aaron HaKohen Pam Zatzal, Rosh Yeshiva of Torah V'das, was nifter within the year. But when Reb Tzemach introduced us, he was full of life. He gave us an hour of his precious time. I told the Rosh Yeshiva the story of our life and gave him a copy of the new book. Then he gave us a bracha which, it would seem, soared up to Shemayim. At that moment, Reb Tzemach, also a famous photographer of Gedolin, took a memorable picture. Then Tzemach, my wife and I, made the rounds in Borough Park. Doors miraculously opened everywhere. After all, we had Rav Pam's bracha. Then we entered Eichler's 13th Avenue, which advertises itself as the largest Judaica retailer anywhere in the world. I walked up to the counter and asked whom we should speak to about my new book. And I got this sideways look. See that guy at the back? His name is Shuey. Shuey's very busy, so I don't know if he'll have time to speak with you. But he's the one who does the English books here. And so we entered the lion's den. But we had a secret weapon, Rav Pam's bracha. And a miracle occurred. Suddenly, I was Shuey's friend. Here is the story in Shuey's own words, and this is taken from the book From Sinai to Yerushalayim by Rabbi Nachman Seltzer, an Art Scroll Mesorah publication. Quote, "It was just an ordinary day when I was working at Eichler's. I was around 20. I had a goal, I had a job, and I had to look at the big picture. Even though I liked books, I found many times that an author would come in, whatever his life story was, and sometimes these guys would rub me the wrong way. Like a guy would feel his book was everything, and I would get annoyed. When Yisrael Newberger came into the store with his wife and Tzemach Glenn, I felt like his book looks interesting, but how many people are going to buy it? So I bought half a dozen copies and I put it by the new arrivals section. But I was curious because Yisrael had come into the store and given me his card. Now it had become personal. I said to myself, let me open it up and see what it's about. I read the story, and it's such an interesting story. And Yisrael is a great writer. I don't know where he went to writing school, but I actually went home and I read the book in one shot, standing. I didn't even sit down. I read the whole book, and I loved it because it was selling so well in Eichler's. Magazines would call me up and ask, which book is the best seller? And I would tell them this book because I had a personal connection to it. Every time a Chabad Shaliach would come in and ask me for a book recommendation, I recommended it. I really believed in it. I wouldn't sell something that I didn't believe in. So it's not like I sold it because I liked Yisroel, but I really loved the book. I loved it and believed in it. Something got to me in the book. There was something special about it. And then our relationship became personal. Shui continues, quote, Yisroel and Leah are sort of like everybody's Bubby and Zadie in Klal Yisroel. I had a lot of love in my house where I grew up, and I have a beautiful family. But Yisroel and Leah played a tremendous role in my life. They became like a second family to me, and I, a Ben Bias, in their house. They treated me really special, really special. From the pool to the cholent and how to taste Baker's bourbon. Leah's mother taught me how to bring out the taste in scotch. Yisrael's father showed me how to drink a glass of red wine. There was maybe a half inch in there. And by the end of the meal, there was maybe a drop less than a half inch. I saw that it's not about drinking. Yisrael and Leah taught me a lot of elegant, interesting things. I still love Laurent Perrier champagne and Sharon's sorbet. I can't even find words to thank them. They built a foundation. I remember Yisrael yelling at me. I felt like a Nebuch being single and coming to his son Ari's wedding, but Yisrael said, if the family makes a wedding, you're there. He gave me a good potch with love. What do you mean? You're part of our family. Don't play hooky. I felt really close. These are good friends. I liked the couch in their living room, and I went to get a couch like that for my family. Yisrael made a bracha under my chuppah. I feel like he is there every day. He gave me such hugs and kisses. His Divrei Torah and Leah's cooking. Now do you see why I love Shui? That he went way beyond. He became a great person. He went into the world of finance and sold things which I don't understand, but which cost more than books. But it was all about Hashem. Shui's mind was always on Ruchnius. Maybe he was just too big for this world. Now, Shui, please speak to the master of the world. You're standing next to him. He loves you. Ask him for everything. You know how to say it. You can do it. We need him to send us Mashiach at this very second. Shui, you can do it. There's not a moment to lose. You can do it, Shui. Good Shabbos.